Hey guys, Mark Holthe here again, Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, and former high school teacher. Back again to teach you some more about express entry. Now, after the previous videos I've shown already, you're probably thinking, woohoo, I am the man or the woman, whatever the case may be. I know how to do this. I'm jumping in. I'm getting my profile ready. I'm going to submit it right now because Mark has given me the tools that I need to know to go through safely, knowing I'm not going to waste my money, knowing I qualify, that I'm in business. So you jump on, you start completing the Come to Canada tool, which is essentially, let me know, government, if I qualify or I'm eligible. That's often step one because it will give you a little access code. And so you start down this process and it keeps deeming you ineligible. And it's driving you crazy. You know that you qualify because I've taught you everything that you know about express entry to this point. But for whatever reason, the stupid computer system that the government has administering express entry, well, they don't believe that you're eligible. So you've got to be doing something wrong, right? Probably. So this one, guys, and it's a big one. I'm going to slide over here. You can see, oh, there it is. This one here is my top 5 reasons you're deemed ineligible when you're submitting your profile. And guys, I'll be honest, you're probably doing something wrong, but it doesn't help you because you don't know what it is. You keep entering the same information over and over, and you get the ineligible notification. Okay, what am I talking about? Let me share my screen with you again. Here's hoping I'm doing this right. Delete that. Share my screen. Which one am I sharing today? There we go. This is what we're talking about, guys. This is the official Come to Canada tool if you want to get your access code to submit your express entry application. So you can see right here, do you want to come to Canada as a skilled immigrant? Find out if you're eligible to apply. So then you go down here and you can start by clicking on here to assess your eligibility. And then you go through a series of questions. Well, by the time you're done, some of you are getting this, which basically says, based on your answers, you do not appear, and I'm going to enlarge this so that you guys can see this better. You do not appear right here to be eligible for express entry. Come on! What are you talking about, computer? What are you talking about, government website? You can see here, you can try the Come to Canada wizard if you think you may be eligible under another federal immigration program. Okay, great. You've just told me that the Come to Canada wizard has found me ineligible, and it's driving me crazy. So at the bottom here, this personal reference code, well, it doesn't exist for you. What you're hoping to get, guys, is this. Your result, you will need this personal reference code to apply. And then they give you a bunch of other steps here. But your problem is that you cannot answer these questions and get that code. It keeps giving you this rejection. So, what are Mark's top 5 reasons that you're getting rejected? That's the question on this lovely, lovely Come to Canada wizard. Do you really want to know? Well, for those of you who are struggling, who are consistently getting rejected and rejected, probably. So let's jump in and let's take a look. Here you go, guys. Number 1, you don't have a valid language test. One thing we haven't talked about yet, guys, is the fact that your language assessments are only valid for 2 years. So if your results of your IELTS or CELPIP test are over 2 years, well, you're going to be found ineligible. And that's why it's rejecting you. Number 2, you don't have 1 year of skilled work experience in one occupation. Remember, guys, if you do not have Canadian experience and qualify under the Canadian experience class, You can't use work experience, skilled work experience, in more than one occupation to meet the minimum entry criteria for the federal skilled worker program. You can't do it. So you might be trying to use 8 months from one job and 6 months from another, which is, I guess, that's 14. But if they're two different jobs, two different knock codes, then it's going to bounce you from the system. Number 3 is one that you guys are probably not aware of. And this one is funds. And we haven't talked a lot about it. But if your funds are insufficient, it'll ask you, how much funds do you have to settle in Canada? If you list, I have a family of 3 and I have $1,200 or $1,200 Canadian, you're going to be found ineligible. Let's take a look at how much you actually need. And we're going to go right here to proof of funds. One family member, and this is always changing. So every year it changes. So make sure that you go to the government website, take a look, and make sure that you understand exactly how much money you need. But for 3, if you have 3 people in your family, you need $19,093 Canadian. Guys, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to immigrate to Canada. And why do you need these settlement funds? You need them to establish yourself because you won't have a job yet. You're going to need a place to live. And the more family members you have, like if you and your spouse have 5 kids, $33,000 is what you need to get established. So if you're listing a number that is lower than this minimum amount, guess what's going to happen? Right here. You do not appear to be eligible for express entry. All right? So, proof of funds. They're insufficient. You need to list that you have enough funds to meet those minimum requirements. Number 4, and we've talked about this over and over and over again, but it's important to put down there. You don't meet the minimum criteria for one of the permanent resident programs. Guys, if you don't meet those, and we've talked, and you can go back and you can watch the past videos to refresh your memory, but if you don't meet them, it's not going to work. And then finally, you had problems with your personal reference code from IRCC. So going back to the website and the positive results, you will see right here, and I'll try and make this bigger so all of you fine people can see it nice and clear. This is your reference code. And if you were to subscribe to my Express Entry Do-It-Yourself guide, where I show you exactly how to create your MyCIC portal and how to go through the whole process, you will realize that when you create it and you start down the Express Entry path, it asks you to enter your personal reference code. Why? Because they don't want you filling out a whole profile if you don't qualify. So this little wizard who's so ultimately intelligent and wise, the Come to Canada tool wizard, the government trusts that tool wizard to weed out the people that don't qualify. So if you have this code and somehow enter it wrong, or for some reason, who knows why, it doesn't work, well, sometimes that's why you're not able to actually start submitting your profile. It's because this code, and I should say that this code, excuse me, it's kind of out there a little bit. So this doesn't necessarily fit with why am I deemed ineligible, because you will be eligible in order to get this code. But when you actually start entering in the information for your Express Entry profile, sometimes there's problems with this code. Don't fear, okay? Because if you go in and you register your MyCIC and you select that you want to start a new Express Entry application, it will give you a second chance to go back and start fresh. So if your code isn't working, ignore it. It's not locked in forever. It's just a code that just happens to be there, but it's not directly tied to you or going to cause you to never be able to apply again. Just start over, do it over, or as you're prompted, as you're actually entering your profile, you can go through this process and get a new personal reference code. All right? So guys, there you have it. And you see how these are becoming much more efficient and effective? So those are my top 5 reasons. And you know what? Because I'm a big proponent of And actually, I better make sure that once again, I am sharing my screen again. Oh, you guys, you have no idea how much pain and suffering I go through trying to do these videos for you. It's actually quite painful because I mess it up so many times and then have to redo it. But as you can see this time, sometimes I don't worry about it. There's no point editing it out. So back to the list. Remember, number 1, you don't have a valid language test because it's expired. 2, you don't have 1 year of skilled work experience in one occupation. You don't have enough money. And remember, you're not listing that you have these things when you're completing the wizard. Or you don't meet one of the minimum criteria for one of the PR programs. Okay? So those are basically the list. And obviously, if you get your personal reference code, sometimes there's problems with that. But don't worry about it. You can recreate it and get a new one. All right. Fantastic. I have managed to successfully get through one last fantastic, awesome video. And guys, you that were in the initial column, remember that bucket email I sent you that asked you which process are you in? And you indicated that you're just learning about express entry. Well, guys, you've come to the end. And guess what? You now have the opportunity to advance to phase 2, which is submitting your profile and getting a whole bunch, in fact, at least 5 more tips on how to navigate that process of entering your profile successfully without screwing things up, without losing your opportunity to immigrate to Canada. So, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. Guys, I hope this really is helpful. I'm doing it, yes, to promote my guide. I want you guys to buy the thing because I know that it is going to help you. But my main goal and purpose is to give you the information you need to ensure you are not, remember way back, remember me mentioning MD, that guy who came to see me, one little mistake cost him his ability to immigrate to Canada. I'm not talking about, guys, we've been through the comprehensive ranking system. I'm not talking about just a delay because you get it kicked back. I'm talking about on a lost opportunity because maybe you were drawn at a level, in other words, a round of invitation level like 413, like it was back on May 31st, 2017, the lowest total of all. I had clients who we rushed and got applications submitted. They were drawn with 413 comprehensive ranking system points, and they were successful. Imagine if you were one of those people who, because of a slight mistake, you got your ITA at 413, submitted your electronic application for permanent residence, and we'll talk about that later, but you made a mistake, a tiny mistake, like an extra, it's so tiny mistake. And they kick it back. They just return it because it's incomplete. And guess what, guys? You not only lose out on your opportunity for that application, but you may never get an ITA again. So this is not me fear-mongering. That is why I created the guide. Because some of you just want the information now. You don't want to have to wait. Well, and the reality is, guys, the information that's in there is far more advanced than what I'm blithering on about here in these videos. I created it and I charge for it because it's freaking awesome. And maybe in one of these videos, I'll actually drag in some testimonials from people who've actually used it, succeeded, and are now permanent residents of Canada at a fraction of the cost that you would pay an agent to oversee your application overseas. And let's face it, you care more about your application than anyone else. Well, wait a minute. I'll qualify that. We here in my office, we actually care about you guys too. So once again, if you want to book a consult, you can click the button, or you can hire me and I'll help you and give you complete peace of mind. But that's all secondary, guys. All secondary. This is about teaching. This is about helping. And I hope you've loved it. So continue on. This was just the first in the initial series. Those of you who are jumping into the profile stage now, you're going to love the videos that are on their way. Take care, everyone, and we will see you again in the next video. Mark Holthe, Canadian immigration lawyer, ex-immigration officer, border officer that is, and former high school teacher signing off.